Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e D&D adventure where we go through the campaign Skulls and Shackles. I'm Thomas, your DM for this adventure, and around the table we have...
Ignis Halcon.
Maximus Shans.
Ataraxia Kalian.
Robusta Bilgewater.
You can't see me, or rather, they couldn't see the crew here as there was a lot of pile driving going on straight into the ground where Max just completely, just really injured Miss Lady Smythe of Tidewater Rock.
But she liked it.
She lived through it for sure. And after a brief battle on the cliffside, the 30-foot cliffside, with some clever maneuvering from everybody in the party, and with water breathing cast upon everybody, Lady Smythe with the rest of the crew were able to escape to not parley, but to discuss terms rather. And
Kind of a forcible parlay.
as they left a cackling old man on the beach side, Mr. Royster McClay, they were able to strike up some accord and agreement with Miss Lady Smythe. And this is where we join our adventurers on this week's episode of I Cast Fireball.
Oh, Sir Royster, I feel bad for that guy.
It's okay. He'll get over. He'll recover from laughing. After you discuss some terms, negotiations here to form this alliance with Ms. Lady Smythe, you start making your way back to the Satyr's Horn. Satyr Song. Satyr Song. Goodness. And as you get to the ship, the sun starts to crest over the horizon, and you have worked all through the night, captured Ms. Lady Smythe, and you bring her on board, and you are greeted by the night shift here. Anything you'd like to do? Would you like to be discreet about bringing Ms. Lady Smythe on board, or is there anything in particular you want to approach?
Has anybody been looking for, like, if we're being pursued? They had a ship in dock.
And I don't think we need to go all the way back to the ship. If we're trying to parlay and talk to her, we can talk to her on the way, right? The ship is real far away.
Yeah, the ship is about, what was it?
Half a day, I think.
Did I say? Yeah, it was half a day. That's what I
12
thought.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should talk to her way before then. We just sit in silence for 12 hours.
You don't get to talk. We just gotta get.
Oh, and also everybody leveled up last time.
This is true.
Yeah, which if you listened last time, you remembered. But while you're on your trip, this 12-hour trip back, let's have everybody roll a d6, please.
Oh boy. 4.
5.
1.
5.
So you start moving back to your ship. It's going to take a while, right? It's going to be at least, the sun is going to be rising as you get to the ship. But yeah, you can absolutely talk with Ms. Lady Smythe and hash out any of the details you'd like, or we can just assume that some sort of negotiation will take place, or the terms will be solidified off screen if that is the party's prerogative, and we can move forward with the story.
Yeah, I believe where we left off in particular was I had just said something to her to the effect of, hey, you hate Harrigan, we hate Harrigan. Maybe we can team up in some way to try and get out from under his thumb. And she seemed to be a pretty big fan of that idea.
Yes, and she had suggested marriage, but
that is true.
Obviously, that's not the. It wasn't jumped upon, so she's like, well, maybe we can come up to some other negotiation agreement that is more contractual, more binding.
Well, we've got this guy back on the ship who is the most gung-ho dude you've ever met in your life.
Jorge Donata?
Are you?
No.
Are we going to try to refer? We could just be like, hey, Glenlivet, you want to...
Glenn,
No.
Do you want to have a political marriage?
But she goes, I would I think somebody in power. You know, maybe somebody in power.
Do we still have Zone of Truth, and is she still amicable with us right now? I'm saying this as Buster.
Zone of Truth is gone. It's 10 minutes.
I mean, I could
10 minutes, so
recast
it's
it.
gone at this point. So. I'm just realizing, I think she had a Cockney accent that I needed. She does now.
She
Here we go.
does now. It was the.
Maybe it's the Zone of Truth. The Zone of Truth loses the accent.
She fakes a Cockney accent with everybody, but the Zone of Truth made her make it a normal accent.
This Zone of Truth is really weird. I don't know why it's
going
making me sound this
on?
way.
My goodness. Well, right,
Valid.
Governor.
Yeah.
The 10 minutes of the truth are on.
Just a poor little pirate lady.
My fair lady.
I'm a good girl, I am.
She turns to you, Ataraxia, and being like, "Yeah, all right. Well, we both despise Harrigan, of course, and you definitely have me at your mercy here. I see that marriage with one of you's not on the table, regardless of it being just strictly." As she sees every single one of you emphatically shake your head no, she goes, "Yep, all right, of course. Well, I believe we can merge our ships, our boats, our captaineering with one another and be close allies."
Oh no, we need to be superior. I guess Buster says that under his
to her?
Buster says that under his breath.
Ignis
little
is
bit.
so proud.
We need to be superior.
Captain, listen. No offense, lady of the Rock, but like, we got you. You know, like I don't think Ataraxia deserves to be your equal. I think he deserves your service.
That you do. I mean, that's very a right point you have there, eh?
Yeah, here's maybe how we could sort of handle this situation. We have obviously proven ourselves to be very capable, and not only could we be capable in cracking the Tidewater Rock, we could also be capable in offering some protection to the Tidewater Rock also. So perhaps you become a protectorate of the Satyr's Song. You can maintain a certain degree of suzerainty over Tidewater Rock in your own operations. It doesn't have to necessarily change too much in your day-to-day, but you know that we are the ones who are your benefactors, I suppose?
I get the phraseology, the word you're looking for, benefactors. That word be, I believe, an apt description of the current situation, which I would be amenable to.
Cool. I'm amenable to that. Is everybody else amenable to that?
Especially maintaining my own authority of Tidewater Rock. What sort of protections would you be providing if Harrigan did happen to pop on off over here whilst you was away?
Whilst we was away, this is a good question. I mean, we could leave a couple people back on the island with you who could potentially get into contact with us.
And she cocks her head and she raises her eyebrows, and you can tell that would absolutely be something that she would seriously consider.
Maybe rather than offering a marriage, we offer you a first mate.
Aye. And Ataraxia, go and do a history check for me, please.
History check right now. Let's do it. That happens to be a 15.
Boom. So 15 that you met it just where I needed you to. With Tidewater Rock having this information that Harrigan has been harrying their forces and seeing the size of Tidewater Rock, you actually reach back and you recall that most of their forces had been lost at sea, away, decimated, and so you actually recall that there are only maybe 18 people in Tidewater Rock currently. And so being like, oh, yeah, having some individuals extra manpower just in general would probably be a great thing to offer for protection of Tidewater Rock, because it's in such an ideal location regardless. It's way up high. They've got the ballista on top, and they have a vantage point from clear, way the heck around the island where they're currently at. But if they don't have the manpower to back up forces that might be trying to barge their way in from the bottom, it could be really detrimental. So offering aid and individuals could is absolutely something that's piqued her interest.
Ignis stops rowing and takes a hard look at her and is frustrated and can't comprehend or doesn't understand why she would give up her power so easily to just like the first person that took her hostage. There was no negotiation. And she just looks at her and goes, if you're hurting for manpower, how come no one has taken Tidewater Rock from you yet?
Well, we've been pushing Harrigan back in a variety of ways, but his force has been growing so strongly when mine have been growing less strongly. He's been diminishing us little by little. So this is kind of our last stand that we had. If I may, Captain Ataraxia, you pretty much caught us at the right time. If you'd caught us like a month ago, might have been a little bit of a different story, but regardless, we've just been whittled away and whittled away.
Yeah, here's a situation I've got in mind, because we want to continue freebooting across the seas. We're not necessarily interested in being shackled down to a location, pun unintended. But what we can do is, as we're bopping about from island to island, we can be spreading word that there is a new contender in town that maybe Harrigan should be more worried about than he should be about Tidewater Rock.
Aye, all right, and Tidewater can be spreading this news around as well, not only in this sector of the Shackles, but we could send word to any reliable allies across the way, maybe paving the way forward for you.
That would be so sick. I would really enjoy that.
My husband has some. We got some of our older contacts. We've been known to have diplomatic relations with some of the other free captains as well.
You ever heard of the Vorse Fang?
The Vorse Fang.
Captain Rexon?
Can't say that I have, but I have been sequestered in the southwest for quite a time.
Okay.
And at this time, Ignis, while you're pondering these thoughts, while you're having just like soaking it in, you realize that you haven't picked up rowing, but the boat is just still moving forward in the direction. Like the oars are just moving on their own. Like as soon as you stop rowing, they go into autopilot.
She's been using her strength the whole time.
And she's
been using her strength, but it's just been the boat.
Indignantly, Ignis just starts rowing again.
Apology, Josh. What was that name once more time? I forgot to write it.
Rexon of the Vorse Fang. It's the ship we saved.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he owes,
that's right.
he was just interested because that's a captain that would probably speak well of us. So if she had a good relationship with him, it would be a boon in the arrangement.
Yeah, and also inspired by Buster's question here about the Vorse Fang, I would like to ask her if she's familiar with the Rift and Captain Ada Fowl Shirley, the ship that Rickety Hake used to be a crewman on.
She was the captain. She was by far one of the most free captains I've ever seen. I had the pleasure of meeting her a couple of times, and I was quite young. No more beautiful, of course, but I was quite young at the time, and she was already near the top, and had this obsession with the Rift. Oh, and by Jove, she couldn't let it go. She couldn't just move on. She had to see what was beyond. She had to see what was there. She had to explore, and I admired her for it, and still do, despite it taking her down.
Taking her down?
Well, where else would she be?
Taking her out, at least.
Absolutely. Aye.
Taking her through to the plane of water, perhaps.
Regardless, no one's seen her since.
Out of the shackles.
So-
She's not in the shackles anymore.
I doubt she's in the material plane, one way or another.
At this point, I've pulled out my scrolls, and I'm just scribbling in them, very thoughtful about this conversation.
So what assurances can we have that you're not gonna... I guess... I mean, you're tied up right now. Like this, it's hard to feel like we have an honest agreement at present.
No, I mean, I've been. She points to Max. I had to be fairly truthful, ain't I? To some degree, and my forces are very well depleted. If Harrigan comes to Tidewater, he will crush it immediately, even with one of his minor forces here. Part of me thought that was you. That was going to get me.
How's your food on Tidewater? What kind of supply resources are you currently having to deal with?
I mean, I leave all agricultural endeavors to Royster, for sure. So
He's the laughing
anything
one,
that
not the one without a face,
Oh.
right?
Yes. So Royster, she gets solemn for a bit and oh yes, that did happen, didn't it? Yeah. So
I want to push her a little bit, because Buster's nervous. She's BSing us, and I would prefer to.
for sure. So Royster, he takes care of the agricultural part. Our supply lines are pretty much been cut off. We used to have maybe half a dozen ships that would go about pillaging, plundering, bringing loot back, create some sort of open trade. Merchant ships would come and we would buy off them. Those merchant ships still come, but the
Picked
steady
clean.
source of gold is been seriously hampered.
How do you feel about goats?
Pardon?
Is there room for maybe 5, 6, 10 goats on
5, 6, 10.
Tidewater?
25.
We've got a whole island with log grass, and I'm sure the men would like something more than just stale old cheese. Is this an offering?
I think we could supply you with good people to help maintain your fortress, and maybe, I don't know, put bars on your windows, and then
Hey, it's the only window in the entire Tidewater Rock without a bar. And I see, as I'm saying it out loud, the illogicalness of that statement.
and then we could give you some actual sustaining resources with a small herd of goats we've been keeping aboard our ship.
You's telling me you've got a herd of goats, almost a baker's dozen of goats on your ship.
Unfortunately.
We've got a herd of goats and a decent amount of plunder we've gained over.
And she looks
Last
to
week.
you and just unfortunately, she's cocks her head and raises her eyebrows is they for real?
Ignis will elbow Buster. Why don't
What?
you just go ahead and tell her all about our horde? How many crewmates we have? What kind of firepower we have on here? Why are you guys talking to her about what we have?
Because we're allies now.
That's the plan, isn't
Insight check.
On who?
On Ignis or
On her. Yeah.
On Lady Smythe.
Lady Smythe? Sure thing.
I would like to roll that as well.
Yeah, the entire time that Lady Smythe has been talking about, this is why you can trust us. I want to just make sure that she's being upfront about it all.
I rolled a 19. Ooh. So 22 total insight.
And a 21.
Ooh.
Let's see, right through her.
She rolled a natural 1.
Woo!
And
She's lying.
She's lying.
Yeah. I love her. I'm going with her. I will marry her.
she has my heart, says Buster. Oh my gosh. Buster's going on the rebound here. That's what he's doing. No. So she rolled a 1 on her persuasion, but she is trying to be as charismatic as possible because she realized the life and death situation she's absolutely in, and she knows that even amongst pirates, it's hard to navigate a conversation even telling the truth. And so she's like, I absolutely am telling the truth, but I still have to be play the part in order for them to believe me. Or else, if I'm too eager, they'll be like, nah, get rid of her type of a situation. So
Still might.
I'll say this to Ignis. With that insight, I'm going to say, listen, Lieutenant, the Satyr's song does not need to be afraid of Tidewater Rock. I'm not worried about what she can do. It seems very clear that she's undermanned, and we have a lot of power, and we're strong. We are. We've proven ourselves very capable here, and I feel really good about how much gold we have, and we have goats. I mean, what is there more you could want? The open sea, food, plunder, and victory.
I think this is a win-win for you, Lieutenant. We can get rid of some of the goats, and we can get rid of some of the crewmates that are most annoying to you.
I think we should have a council about who we send once we get back to the ship.
Is Buster worried Sandara's gonna be first off the boat?
He wants Sandar off the boat.
Weird.
He won.
Oh!
What? Indeed.
I think we have someone aboard our ship who would make a perfect second mate to the Lady of the Rock.
Somebody
That's a
we
good
trust.
point.
And we could trust to safeguard our interests aboard the Rock.
Yeah.
Captain,
That's me.
if I may, we seem
You
to
may.
be promising this lady quite a bit of our resources. I'm not quite
what
sure
I'm saying.
still what she's providing us.
Infamy, reputation. We cracked Tidewater Rock.
Glory awaits he who cracks Tidewater Rock.
So we give her people, supplies, allyship of a superior captainry, and she spreads the word that we're cool.
And we have a safe haven of retreat if we need it at any point.
And you're fine with this, Lady Smarty. You want to stay on the rock. That's it. You don't want to go out and explore anymore. You don't want to go out and fight. You just want to stay?
My husband, well, he did all the adventuring and a bit on in my years. Still spry, still got it, if you will, but not willing to go venture out and start a second life. And I've grown mighty comfortable here in the vestiges of Tidewater Rock. And as far as I can tell, not only the blue one over here, he laying it out, although questioningly, seems pretty spry and on the nose for me. Yes, I spread the news, I spread the infamy, and she turns to Ataraxia, and infamy is a real currency of the Shackles. And if I can keep spreading that for you, then more opportunities will rise, and more possibility will be there for you. And, I mean, if you want, you could take it from me, of course, but you have to supply it with your own men. And because if you lose Tidewater Rock just as quickly as you got it, well, what's that going to do for your reputation?
So we keep her fat and happy, and she's happy to stay?
We don't keep her fat and happy. We put her to work.
I'm happy to have a purpose as well. I've been fighting Harrigan for quite some time. It's been wearing me down, so having this new life reinvigorated into the rock, I think would be good for me men. Those that are alive and still have their heads, of course.
Which is all but one, to be fair.
To be fair, one casualty in this mutually beneficial agreement. I'd say it's a pretty miraculous it happened to be that way.
Ignis has no insight, and I just so deeply distrust her. Everything she says is like more and more reason that I distrust
I mean, you
her.
can still roll insight. You don't have to be good at it to roll it.
They had a ship, right? Am I crazy in thinking that they had a ship in a dock outside
They
the rock?
had a ship in a dock. You are absolutely correct.
At a glance, could I have figured out like what size and like how swift
yeah.
it is?
It was like bigger than your ship. But because they only had 18 people in Tidewater Rock,
Yeah.
not really usable at the time.
So, I mean, I think we get the ship as well. I think we get your service and the use of the rock as a point of proclaiming the greatness of Ataraxia and the Satyr song. But I think we grow our fleet by one.
She gets a little dejected when you suggest that and goes, I don't wish to be defenseless, Savvy.
I'm not saying that it leaves Tidewater Rock. I'm saying that it's recaptained by someone we approve of, and
I follow.
it leaves dock at our behest, not yours.
What's the name of the ship, by the way?
I have it.
Because branding is important.
Branding is important.
That would that satisfy your need for a more equivalent exchange, Ignis?
It's not about the exchange, it's about the fact I don't trust her. I have a hard time believing that somebody who would give up their power like that without a fight, without trying to put everything they have on the line, I just don't trust that they're willing to do whatever we want them to do. Because as soon as we leave, who's to say that she's going to do any things that she says?
The people we leave behind.
That could be easily overpowered by the 18. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying she's willing to give up power to this easily via just her word alone. I'm worried about leaving her.
I mean, maybe we stay aboard the rock for a while. We make sure that it's underfoot and that they understand the new leadership structure.
The ship's name is the Devil's Seas.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's a good
fits.
one.
Max will cast Psionic Mind again, just to the captain, and say again,
Captain, again, I have a way that can let fate decide and either ensure her allyship or cause her demise quickly.
I respond back. I'm trying to remember. Can I respond telepathically back to
No.
you? Okay. Message. Yeah, I whisper telepathically back to Max and say, maybe let's wait until after we have everything all kind of sorted out and arranged so that she's not dead by the time we get back to everybody else to proclaim the alliance. But I'm not opposed to it.
Maybe have it be like the cutting of the ribbon, her pulling a deck from a card from the deck, right?
Could be a way to sign and seal the deal.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
While that psionic conversation was happening that we were not privy to, Ignis looks at Buster and kind of shrugs side to side, mulling it over, that perhaps our presence on Tidewater Rock for a period of time and making sure that we are truly in control of Tidewater Rock rather than just dropping her off and leaving immediately is something she would be agreeable to.
And it would give, listen, we get aboard Tidewater Rock, full force. We let, at the last stop, only we de-embarked, and the rest of the crew had to stay aboard the ship, right? They didn't get to, hop off, have a drink, relax. Tidewater Rock would be the place that the crew could do that. We could give the lads and ladies some time on dry land to drink, rest, recuperate from the sea, and, I don't know, resupply. And maybe there are a few people on Tidewater Rock we want to take with us on the ship.
Yeah.
As well, so we could
exchanging crew.
Mixing, matching, I think making sure that there aren't cliques happening within each group.
Ignis will look at the lady and just say, "You swear full fidelity to Captain Ataraxia."
She sighs, takes a minute to sort of breathe in as she's still tied up, and she looks up. But as she looks up, it's very determinedly, she goes, "I swear to hear this Captain here, Captain Ataraxia."
Booyah.
That's good enough for Ignis for now.
Max will sit down in front of her and go,
Well, since we're starting out this relationship swimmingly, I guess I should, make sure all cards are on the table.
and he'll reach into his bag and he'll pull out the statue that he stole from that chamber, from that little secret drawer. And he'll be like,
This might belong to you. I'm just curious as to its worth in your eyes to hide it.
and he'll put it in front of her.
Oi, well, it ain't mine. Sir Royster sure boasts quite a bit about it. He likes to show me his prized possessions from time to time. That'd certainly be one of them. You found a secret drawer then, eh?
Not me, actually.
And he'll look over at Ignis.
Oh, a strong one didn't have to break into it. She found it, eh? Well, more to meets the eye than to when it comes to you.
She'll just glare back at her.
That's a mighty right, Claire. Mighty right.
Man, Sir Royster sure is a lot, isn't he?
He is a sir.
He's a... What does that mean?
Is he a paladin?
No, he's just proper. Just trying to be something maybe bigger than what he is. And he's being led by emotion quite a bit. And, duty, honor, loyalty, love, all that junk nonsense.
What are the chances that he's aboard the Devil's? I'm sorry. What was the name of your ship?
The Devil's Seas.
What's the chances that the Devil's Seas is after us right now with a very angry Sir Roysterets?
Well, he probably have a skeleton crew trying to man it now. It'd be tough. This little pontoon here. What do you call it?
The Silvery Barb.
And you say the silvery barb, it appears etched into the side, just right in front of her, and just whispers, "The silvery barb," as it just disappears, like with magic dust. Oh, that's a right proper trick. And there's a silvery barb, certainly outmatching it in speed for sure. The Devil's Seas, on a full crew, full complement. It's got some wind in its sails, but this one, crush it right here. I mean, you could crush it right here in any sort of speed race.
Thomas, Buster wants to do a history check
Sure.
on Harrigan's tactics, as much as I know or am aware of them.
Yes.
If he's had eyes on Tidewater Rock, and we just took the Lady of the Rock, and their forces are really small, probably as many areas needed for the running of a ship, and if they're all moving to the ship to come after us, if Harrigan's watching the rock and he sees all of this happen, I'm a little nervous. Buster is kind of sitting there listening to all this, and another part of his brain is starting to think. I just want to know if Harrigan would likely have regular scouts keeping watch of Tidewater Rock, and if we need to get back to the ship and then go full blast toward the rock before he takes it.
We do have a spyglass to see if anybody's
Because, like,
following us,
the worst thing would be if we're coming back with her to find their ship on, like, halfway between, and then the two of us go to the rock and it's manned by Harrigan. Like, that would...
Yeah.
So, I just want to see if
Go ahead and roll a history check.
I rolled a 19, that's a 22.
Nice. From what you can tell, from what you can remember about Harrigan, and again, this is part of your personal history, right? Because you were slaves of Harrigan.
Right.
And
I was a pirate before I was a slave.
I, too, was a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't too terribly long before from when you were a slave to Harrigan. I mean, there's been some good travel here. You had Ricky Hakes, and then Tidewater Rock, of course, Goat's Head. But if he's been able to amass a multitude of ships since you left him, it would be miraculous. Maybe he's got like one ship that would be beneficial to like harry some of their forces. I mean, from what she said, you know that he must have at least one other ship in his complement to be able to harry her forces in a number of ways, just due to the time frame. But he has to be devoting all of his time to just that, to try to cripple her so that when he comes in, his small force could overtake it. And if you're recalling some of the conversation that she had with you, he hasn't been to Tidewater Rock yet.
Okay.
He has just been working on their own navy, essentially.
So he's not aware how vulnerable they are either.
He's trying to get them vulnerable to where it's a guarantee when he gets to Tidewater Rock, to where he could probably send even one of his smaller ships to take care of it while he goes off to bigger fish to fry.
It sounds like it's there. It sounds like well done. Like he basically set her up and we teed it. Like we kind of are jumping in and grabbing the fruit off the tree he's been working on.
Right. I mean, that's why she said, she's like, I mean, if you would have caught us a month ago, like this would have been a different story. But you kind of got really lucky here when you came in.
Okay.
To grab us when you did. You essentially stole Harrigan's prize that he's been investing all of the work to lower our resistance, and you swoop
Without
in.
saying anything, Buster's going to sit down on the oar adjacent to Ignis. I kind of think we should go quickly about all of this, if I'm being honest.
Well, grab an oar. Help me.
A second pair of oars pop out as you sit down, and they start to row in front of you until you grab on, and then they row.
Maybe the ship takes on a little bit more of Buster with the sense of like urgency and nervousness is exuding from him.
Just
Yeah.
yeah. Its rudder in the back is going back and forth like a fin in the water.
Yeah.
So did Lady Smiley have a bigger armada at one point, and now she's down to one ship.
She did. Yeah, she had like 5 to 6 ships.
But they've all been wiped out. So her only resource is the Tidewater Rock itself and the Devil's Sea. Okay.
Yeah, the Devil's Seas.
Yeah, Ignis will row faster as well.
It's like in Peter Pan at the very end.
When they're like skipping.
They're all...
Because like...
And they're just...
I think Buster will just like look at Ignis and say kind of, if I was Harrigan. And then I don't think he needs to like say anything more because essentially the idea
That's
is...
when she starts rowing faster. She sees it and connects and is like, we gotta go. Yeah.
That's when the oar actually shifts in your hand, Ignis, and instead of just a single oar, it actually becomes like it starts like
like one of those like
it breaks apart. Where like
those like
it's,
fairy like little
it's a
like a
little
paddle boat?
fairy like paddle boat where and you're just your hands digga. Exactly.
Stupid magic ship is so stupid.
Oh man, brilliant. Okay, cool. Excellent. So this is the sort of attitude leading to your ship, the Satyr's Song. Any last minute things before we get to your ship?
Let's get there.
I think I'm good to go.
Same.
Great. It's a long time, and you can take shifts. I will allow all of you to recover and get a basically benefit from a long's rest.
Oh boy.
Dude.
Get your spells back. Get your health. Get those abilities.
Well, we just leveled up, so we did all that. We had it all.
What do you know?
I'm still grateful, Thomas.
Wow.
Can I pit my players against each other? Yes. Excellent. So as you are hurrying and making haste, do you untie Miss Lady Smythe?
Nope.
I mean, Ignis and I don't. We're busy.
And Ignis will stop anyone who tries.
So maybe you can prop her up to where she's not going to be like purple and blue by the time that you
She'll
get
be
to the
fine.
ship. But I know Ignis doesn't care. But maybe
But
she'll relent.
she is in her soldier background. She would have been trained how to deal with POWs, prisoners of war, and so
Fair.
she would
Absolutely fair.
know how to keep them contained, but also alive.
Max won't untie her, but Max is going to, before he sleeps, or, rests, he is going to use his last first level spell slot and cure wounds her.
Okay.
Just to,
Sounds
show
From
we're
all the
not
pile
just
driving.
just to show, well, yeah, one.
I do want to apologize. I didn't mean, well, I did, but I'm sorry.
Just, sorry. I'm sorry about that. He'll cast Cure Wounds, kind of again they haven't officially formalized their alliance, but kind of to show goodwill. What is that? 1d8 plus my spell modifier, which is 2. Okay, here we go. She gets 5 hit points.
Hooray! She is not at full health.
Sorry, hopefully that helps.
Lady Smythe is not going to sleep throughout the night. She is not going to be able to with the jarring events of the evening. But after a good old, after pedaling quite a bit, rowing quite a bit to your previous location of the Satyr's Song, you see, you actually come across some fog as the sun starts to rise, and so the waters start to become foggy here. So it's a little difficult to see here as you start pulling on up. But you know the general location that it's at. You start traversing through this fog, and you can't help...
Detect magic.
Okay.
I want to know if it's a magic fog.
Sounds good. And what's the distance of detect magic again? I need to remember this.
30 feet.
30 feet? Okay, sounds good.
I just mostly want to know if the fog itself is natural or not.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Because I make fogs.
It would say If it
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
You get just like this eerie feeling as you come into the fog. So Buster, you cast Detect Magic as the rest of you are paddling away and trying to navigate. And Buster, as you paddle into this fog, you're like, yeah, just Detect Magic. You kind of like throw your hands up in the air, muttering the incantation to Detect Magic. And as soon as you finish the incantation, this is magical fog. This is not natural. This is magical fog.
Okay. Gang, something's going on. This is a fog spell. This is someone made fog.
How far out are we from the ship?
Well, it's hard to see in the fog where the ship actually is, but you know it's in this general area. You couldn't see it while approaching this area because the fog was so present, so thick.
But the time difference that we've been rowing, it should be close.
Correct.
Okay.
You're like, we've got to be close. It's
Max?
got to be around here.
Max, you see anything?
Already on it.
And Max will be using his eyes, ears, and also, if needed, his survival skill to detect if this, one, what's out there possibly, and two, if this is possibly monster, animal, beast related.
Sure.
What time of day is it?
It's the sun is about to rise.
'Kay.
So it's just the vestiges of night before the sun hits the horizon. Ataraxia, were you going to do anything? I thought I saw you might want to jump in there.
I think I would like to cast Clairvoyance onto the ship, onto the Satyr's song.
Oh, new spell. Who it is?
New spell, who dis? So yeah, it's it takes 10 minutes to cast, but you create an invisible sensor within a mile in a location familiar to you, and then it remains in place for that duration. And when I cast the spell, I can choose seeing or hearing, and I can use the chosen sense through the sensor as if I were in its space. As an action, I can switch between seeing and hearing. A creature that can see the sensor, such as a creature benefiting from seeing visibility or true sight, sees a luminous, intangible orb about the size of your fist. So that is Clairvoyance.
Okay. It needs a focus worth at least 100 gold pieces. You have so much loot and so much money. We can absolutely say that you had prepared and have a focus that is that gold piece worth.
Yeah, I'll just remove 100 gold pieces from my loot.
Yep. So you can't see the ship. You know it's within a mile-ish. And you're like, it's got to be here. So I'm familiar with this. Boom. And you create a sensor, and it's going to be on the deck of the ship, correct?
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, about how far can we see through this fog?
It's fairly thick. It's kind of hard to see through it. I would say maybe like 50 to 80 feet, depending on certain patches. Maybe.
Okay, I'll actually go for like just below the crow's nest so I can get more of a bird's eye view of what's going on the ship.
Okay, great. As you go right below the crow's nest, you jump into there as you are seeing through your eyeglass. The magic sort of like pins you and points you to the ship in your mind, at least. And just below the crow's nest, who did we say was in the crow's nest? Max?
Muscles.
Muscles, that's right. You hear him actually singing a song to himself.
Mana, mana.
And bicep. As you look around Ataraxia, the fog is quite dense, but you are able to see generally, like, it's kind of hard to tell, but I'll have you roll a perception check, actually.
All right, that is going to be a natural 20 for a 28.
Yes!
Whoa.
Let's go.
Let's go.
28.
When it counts.
Oh boy.
Well, that beats the 24 I rolled.
Oh my
Because what you see, and it's just a glimpse, but you actually see like a light that was bobbing in the distance. And you're like, oh, there's us. Wait a minute. That's not us. You see an opposing ship some distance away from the Satyr's song, and the light was trying to be obscured, but with the water bobbing up and down, the light became visible just for a brief moment. With your 28, being guided by the magic, you were able to make out a small rowboat slowly and methodically making its way towards the satyr's song. Because you rolled a 28, you're able to see that the ship does have a female human in it, but the rest of the ship is entirely, the rowboat, is entirely filled with Sahuagin monsters rowing towards the ship, silent as ever.
Being led by somebody?
And so they have the little rowboat and a much larger boat way off in the distance that you can barely see. It's at that time, as well as from the opposite side of the boat, because you have a 360 view, right? So you can see like all directions at once. You see yourself coming from the other side of the ship. So the enemy is coming from the starboard, the port, and you are coming from the starboard to the satyr's song. And you are almost equidistant from the satyr's song currently.
Okay, let's pick it up. We got to get to the ship quick and get the ballistas ready.
What? Why? Oh,
There are some Sahuagin in a rowboat trying to get to our ship. They're on the opposite side of the ship from where we are, and we got to get there quick so we can stop them, because I don't like Sahuagin on the ship anymore than I did last time they were on the ship.
Does anybody have the ability? Captain, can you reach them through your message?
How close are we? How close are we to the ship?
So it's probably going to take you at least, well, I'll roll here to see how long it's going to take you to get to the ship.
How many feet away are we? Do we know?
You can't physically see it, and so they said you're about maybe like 200 feet away from the satyr's song.
how fast does our ship go?
I'll say that for the sake of streamlining, you can get to your own ship within 3 turns.
How fast does the ship go? The silvery barb.
Well, what's 150 divided by 3? That is 50 feet per round.
Okay.
Okay. And they're going slowly and methodically, trying not to be noticed. So if we just book it as fast as we can,
You might be able to get there in like 2 rounds, round and a half.
yeah, we just need to get within 120 feet of the ship. Like, I'm going to be pointing towards the ship, focusing on Sandara, and I'll just be like casting message over and over again until it finally catches. Be like, Sandara, we're getting attacked from the port side. Get the ballistas ready.
And thankfully, due to your clairvoyance, you can actually look down because, again, 360 view. And so you can kind of like, and you see Sandara, she's actually taken hold of the wheel. She's standing on the wheel, kind of like stifling a yawn. And so within 1 round, you start pointing, Sandara, and you know generally where to point. And you start saying, what was it that you say exactly to her?
Sandara, we're getting attacked from the port side. Man the ballistas.
She goes, "All right, Cap, what?" And you just hear her yelling, "The ballistas, port side, enemies!" That is where we're going to end this week's episode of I Cast Fireball.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Have they been following us the whole time?
It's the same Sahuagin.
It's the same ones. We didn't take care of them all last time.
I got so creeped out by that fog. I was like, I gotta magic this.
Nice.
Good thing you did. Holy cow.
Yes, absolutely. Well, folks, what a fun episode. I've loved this. I loved the negotiations. I've loved the implications here. And I can't wait to see what happens in this battle and to learn a little bit more here. So Jacob, Mickey, Ned, Josh, as always, thank you so much for playing. And listeners, thank you for following us along on this crazy adventure that we've got going on with the Satyr Song, the Silvery Barbs, and Ms. Lady Smythe here. If you like what you're hearing, leave us a review on the podcatcher of your choice, and we'll shout you out on a future episode, or you can shoot us an email at icastfireball2020@gmail.com, where we will also shout you out. Speaking of shouting out, we want to shout out Isaac. And they said in their subject, they're finally caught up. They caught up on Skull and Shackles, and they love how Max got the deck of many things and are excited to see what happens next. Isaac, aren't we all? Aren't we all excited to see what may happen and hoping every episode is another card to see what exactly occurs? Isaac, thank you so much. And we also want to shout out another person here. We want to shout out somebody on our Patreon. Speaking of the deck of many things, and Max, Elizabeth did a fantastic comic strip.
It was incredible.
It's so cool.
Really,
Absolutely
how many panes is
insane.
it? Like a dozen panes of really emoting the emotion of the whole experience when Max goes into the captain's quarters and he goes to the deck for the first time and he's saying those things. They added some really cool artistic choices in there with time and sand and the hourglass. And Elizabeth, inspiration to you, because that was fantastic. We are still geeking out about it over here on the cast side. If you want to be shouted out, you can join us on our Patreon exclusive Discord, where you can also leave comments. You can leave your theories, spoiler tags on the most recent episode that was dropped. Or if you've got fan art, we'd love to shout it out and share it with all of our other fellow iCast Fireball Fireflies, do we call them? Speaking of shout-outs, though, of course, always want to leave by shouting out Improv Tabletop. They've got some fun stuff. On their Patreon, they've got my favorite, My Spawn, their secondary campaign that they've got going on there. It's a video podcast, so you can look at people's faces while you listen to them. It's a ton of fun. They've got... We didn't call it Roshar necessarily, but they've got fun little spoilers over there as well, right, Ned?
Yeah, and Thomas is back on that campaign.
Woo!
Very, very glad to have him back. It's wild. It's great. I'm loving it.
It's fun, and it's almost over, if I recall, right?
Yep, we're getting close.
Getting close. So we'll see if it gets replaced by another side campaign in the future on Patreon. So don't forget to go check them out. Don't forget to leave them a 5-star review. Lastly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I'm Thomas, your DM, and around the table we've had
Lieutenant Ignis Halcon.
Maximus Shuns.
Ataraxia Kalian.
And Buster Bilgewater.
Let's keep that fire going, everybody, and we'll see you all next time.